bumpy road ahead, but I'm equipped. I've learned some great lessons. The power lies in me.
Come on, folks.
Now I see so clearly.
Hey, Hugh, Louisville, Kentucky. Proud to have you tonight, my brother. Thanks for tuning in. Sly, it's always good to have you too, sir. This is live, so sometimes we're a little bit late. I'm ready to share, sir. Hello, Velma. Always look forward to seeing you, Dana. Wonderful. Hello, darling. Arvell, how you doing? Sheila, good evening, Pamela. Carol, good evening from Harlem. Big bad Harlem. Nothing like Harlem. Crystal, good evening, darling. Hello, Instagram folks. Come on in, cheering. Let me see if I can turn this up. Antoinette, Teresa, come on. Hello, Albert. Yolanda, did I say hi already? Michael, how you doing? Awesome. Pretty always. Scotty. Awesome too. Peace and blessing. Thank you, Dana. Prayer and pampering. Love that. Hi, Brad. Brad. Leora, come on in, cheering. Therese, always good to see you each week. Trey, how you doing, sir? Love you too, Therese. Thank you so much. Soul Inspirations. I am in my brother's hospital room. He just had a successful surgery. Hey, man, holding you in the firm grip of my faith. So tell him that, okay? On the high wall and watch for you. Come on out of there. You'll be okay. Hi, Stephanie, Tunisia, Kenneth, Charleston, lots of Charleston tonight. Hi, Gabe. You're Charleston. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina tonight. Leon. Oh, the ID is not on me. I'm sorry. Thank you, IG. I don't know. Madge? Thank you. I'm trying to get this right. You don't see me. Who said that? Can you see me now? Whoever said. I'm not doing my Instagram right. I mean, they don't see me tonight. What do I need to do? Wait a minute. That didn't do it. I'm almost there, folks. Sorry. I'm trying. Hi, McKinney's 3 years ago. Shadell, Motor City Media. I'm trying to turn this thing around so I'm seen. Somebody said, "No, that's the camera." Oh, wait a minute. There it is. There it is. There it is. I know that I was going to get it right. I don't know why these things have an attitude. Passwords and passcodes and changing. They're so changeable. It's the old saints. Had a lady in the church I grew up. She didn't know how to say. She changes a lot because this one of the ladies in the kitchen had mood swings. And she said, "I can't work with that. She's so changeable." Probably one was probably bipolar and, had mood swings and stuff. All right. Good evening, everybody. Let's get to my lesson here. You're precious to listen in. Thank you. Now, I got to do this without losing everybody.
All right. Yeah, just make sure you don't hit the red.
I'm just going on AOL.
Okay. Everybody
Okay,
can
yes.
like, share, and comment. You can leave the comments, and if I believe we'll have some time here to do some questions, because I think this is going to be a very, very, very different and provocative conversation.
Well, AOL doesn't want to come on. Here, I'll do it this way. Am I still on?
You're still on. You're good. You can keep it going. And
okay.
And while I guess he just cut it off. He'll come back really soon. Anyways, let's go ahead and like and share. And I need to get with him and let him know, because he's still live on IG. Be right back.
You got me?
There you go. Yep.
All right. Now let me go back to my lesson. See. Okay. You ready? Everybody ready? Everybody good? That's almost 10 minutes before I can even get started. But anyway, this is not going to be business as usual. You can, if you watch the news, and I know many of you don't, because it's not boring. It's just depressing to so many people. I've been a news buff now for well over 50 years. I didn't watch it as carefully when I was in college, because we didn't have a TV in our room. The first and second, maybe third year, you have to go into the dining commons, and I didn't do that. But after I got freer, we finally got a Gary McIntosh, Bishop Gary McIntosh, who's the pastor who founded Greenwood Cultural Center and then turned it over to Michael Todd, and it's now called Transformation. Gary and I were college roommates for 3.5 years. And I met him in 1981. So we've been friends almost 53 years. His wife, Debbie, I met her because she was in one of my classes back then. They were some of my oldest, longest friends. And I remember that being at ORU and being in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and being a Christian and a Holy Ghost-filled Christian and an African-American Holy Ghost-filled Christian and from the Church of God in Christ tradition, speaking in tongues, miracles, studying Catherine Kuhlman's and the Oral Roberts and the R.W. Shambox and, of course, Charles Mason and W. Seymour. I'm infused with all of this. And now I'm 70 years old. I'm looking back on my life. I'm wondering what it all means and what it's supposed to mean and how it is supposed to create a present reality. So I've watched a lot of changes in 7 decades, a lot. And finding my place and my space and my pace in these present things is quite interesting, quite intriguing. It's not going to be business as usual in most aspects of our societal traditions. It's just not going to be anymore. We mustn't fight the change. I've been saying this all along, but flow with the change. Don't fight it. Flow with it as a higher source and force in the universe is dictating. You could say God if you want to. God is dictating and indeed demanding volatile change as our human species is being upgraded to its next iteration. Not just Americans and not just Christians and not just ethnic people. The whole planet is experiencing an awakening and a discovery, an uncovering, an unveiling of itself. Humans are learning about humanity. We're learning the heights and depths to which humans can go and grow or descend or deteriorate when it comes to pain and sensitivity or insensitivity. There's people are feeling displaced right now in so many ways. I've never felt such. I'm not lonely, but there's an aloneness. I don't even want to be with people as much as I used to. I enjoy being alone only because I'm thinking and I'm pensive. I'm rethinking, reevaluating, reconsidering everything. My life, my mother is here. I had a real difficult Sunday night because she was literally awake all night long. She has elements of dementia and she was really into hallucinations, seeing people talking literally all night. I finally would get her in bed and she'd wake up again or get up and she kept just fumbling around. By the time I woke up the next morning, I thinking she had been in bed. She was sitting in the living room at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I had been awake since 7 watching the news, and it was quiet. And then I go in there, she's just sitting there in a daze, my own mom. And so I could tell where she'd been pulling things out on them, just took like 15 pairs of pajamas out, had it all scattered over the room, and she could barely walk. I got her back to her bed. She's been very calm today and yesterday, just as sweet as ever. But it wasn't traumatic, but it was a little dramatic for me to hear my mother talking about all these dead people. You know, her mother's been dead since 1964. She was asking for her. She doesn't remember the funeral, doesn't remember my Aunt Lila, my godmother, my own dad, her husband, her dad, grandpa, all the people that she related to, and she's 93 years old, are gone. And it makes you think about what life comes to when you live long and how many memories come, how many memories fade, what life is, why it's important. These are, I think that we're having to, we cannot fight the change, but flow with it as a higher source, as I said earlier, a force in the universe is dictating and indeed demanding volatile change as our human species is upgraded. These are poised and powerful times to be not only alive, but alert and aware. You're alive, but you're alert, you're aware. The alarms are going off everywhere. And this is not a time to push the snooze button. I know sometimes you want to snooze. I know it is to push that snooze button and lay there a little longer, but eventually you have to get up. Some people push the snooze for weeks and days and weeks and months and years. Usually I might a few minutes, but usually when my alarm goes off, which I don't use the alarm very often, sometimes when I'm on the road, I get right up. I wake right up. I get right up. I get into my day. Ask yourself, what might be the difference between normal intelligence, common intelligence, higher intelligence, superficial intelligence, super intelligence, artificial intelligence, superficial and artificial? We're living in an age of intelligence, knowledge, knowing, the information highway, computers, and all the different, from Instagram to Messenger to TikTok, and just so much information. You can sit on your Instagram. There's just millions of people and interesting little videos and jokes and stuff. It's just so much everywhere. People are getting confused because there's so many choices, so many voices out there. Normal intelligence is the intelligence or awareness that comes to or is the standard, sort of the usual, typical, or expected, almost non-impressive awareness. Everybody knows it, like everybody's news is nobody's news. That's normal intelligence. I think we all have it. Common intelligence, again, would be widespread and presently occurring intelligence, presently found or discovered, often or plenteous, regularly, repeatedly done, the same stuff, common, the prevalent or prevailing awareness. Everybody's aware of these things. Nothing is a surprise to them. You just go along in life. We're all informed of the same thing, notice the same things, or pay less attention to the same things. Then higher intelligence refers to genius or elevated ingenuity, creativity. In psychology, it's a person with marked superior awareness, superior intellect, artistic abilities and intuitive sensitivities, and exceptional creative power. You know somebody like that. I'm talking to several people who are, I think, probably of higher intelligence. Superficial intelligence then is because superficial means existing or occurring at or on the surface. There's no depth to superficial intelligence. And a lot of people think they have super intelligence. It's really just superficial. It's very surface. A lot of religious people who've been in religion all their lives and in scriptures and church, we still have not a lot of depth. I'm finding a lot of so-called religious people who have no spiritual depth. They're very nominal and don't know it. And they're okay with that. And so I'm not criticizing them, but you're vulnerable to excesses and extremities when you extravagance, things that are not concrete when you're just superficially intelligent. Of course, then there's super intelligence. That would be excellent or excelling intelligence, superior, elevated, above normal, special of special or particularly unique intelligence. I'm talking to those kinds of people tonight. Some of us are a combination of all of that. There's 7 common traits of highly intelligent people are. Number 1, write this down if you want to. Highly intelligent people, highly aware and alert people are they're highly adaptable. And I've been talking about adapting and adjusting to the change. Highly intelligent people are not shocked by change. They are free-flowing, intelligent beings, constantly in moisture, in movement, in air, in water, spreading, expanding, extending. They're understood. They understand how much they don't know. Highly intelligent people understand how much they don't know because they recognize there is so much to know and that knowledge is infinite. So you can never stop knowing. You might stop believing and or receiving. But knowledge is supernatural and natural. It's sensual, it's social, it's spiritual, it's esoteric. And when I say you can know with the senses, you can know with the psyche, the mind. You can know by observation. You can know by experience. But highly intelligent people understand how much they don't know. It doesn't make you depressed. It just keeps you hungry and searching. Highly intelligent people have insatiable curiosity. I should be resting on my laurels and stop studying so much and reading so much. People think I'm too smart for my own good. I'm not. I love knowledge. I think that's one of the descriptions I would have of God, knowledge. It's the same word for science. Science means knowing or knowledge. When the scripture makes reference to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that is the science of good and evil. There's something scientific about good and or God. There's something scientific about evil and or some would call evil or devil. The negative and the positive, they all have their places. They all have their spaces. Everything counts. Highly intelligent people have this insatiable curiosity. They ask good questions. It's okay to ask questions. They're sensitive to other people's experiences, have a sense of compassion. We are concerned about other people's concerns because concerns are concerns and they carry weight and they have value. Intelligent people are open-minded and free thinkers. You've got to be open if you want to receive more knowledge. But they're also skeptical people. Highly intelligent people do question and do have some doubts. They wrestle back and forth. Doubt, D-O-U-B-T, double D-O-U-B-L-E. They are very similar. A doubting person is a double back person. One, you feel this strength today, and maybe a few seconds later you don't. We all go through that on our way to a more solid constitution. But you have to ask questions, and you have to be a question. Even if you're questionable, you cannot quest for God and not question God or good. Artificial intelligence, I'm really fascinated. It's new on the news. Their threats, their deviations, their incriminations, their speculations. Artificial intelligence is the belief and or theory and development of computer systems. It has to do with machinery able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception or speech or recognition, decision making, translation between languages. They've come up with robots, with computers, with science that can think. They're even considering putting certain genes from the brain into computers. I don't get that at all, but anything is impossible. 100 years ago, nobody would have even imagined that I'd be sitting here in front of this table, this desktop computer in my own home, talking to thousands of people, or even hundreds, or dozens, live. There are people that tune in each week from London, sometimes from South Africa. Sometimes my friend Musi, who lives in Thailand, tunes in. Singapore, Pakistan. People can tune in live in different time zones. Set the time zone. Of course, if you're in a different time zone and you should be asleep now, you can. These are all archives, so you can see them later. But some people happen to be awake and they want to see it now. This newest scientific and technological phenomenon that we call artificial intelligence is already proving to be a huge upset in how we feel, how we flow, and how we find ourselves in this constantly evolving world. That may be the latest. Artificial intelligence may be the latest intimidation. At one time, we were intimidated about televisions, about computers, about going to the moon. There's still a lot of intimidation about aliens, extraterrestrial realities, unidentified flying or lying objects. There's a lot of unknowns out there that we're eager to know. If something is unknown, highly intelligent people have an insatiable desire to know what you don't know. Even if once you learn it, you would rather have not known it. But there's something in us because it's a part of being, existing, and occurring that makes you want to know. So this newest scientific and technological phenomenon is already proven to be a huge upset to a lot of people. I feel safe. I just feel challenged more than normal. I'm not threatened by even robots or scientists or science. For some reason, I'm at a certain level spiritually. I'm not easily threatened by anything. I'm concerned about stuff, but I don't worry. I'm in a state of mourning because I've watched the church that I've loved, the religion, Christianity, evangelical, Pentecostalism. I've watched these people get stagnated in the same space and place in a very moving, fast-moving, revolving and evolving world. And I see the church stuck on stupid, so to speak. Not entirely, but there are many, many exceptions. But in general, the church is still trying to be 20th century relevant, and they're in the 21st century, and the same relevance doesn't exist here. And of course, me being in love with the church, Bibles and preaching, some people call me Bishop Pearson or pastor or brother. I only have an honorary doctor. Some people call me Dr. Pearson. It's not so much what I'm called, it's what I answer to or what you respond to. That's important to know. But I'm just really, really curious about everything and suspicious. I'm investigating and interrogating and excavating, digging up, because I just have this insatiable desire to be and become, constantly evolve. I feel safe, as I said. I'm just challenged more than normal. These are awkward, clumsy, almost cluttery times in human history. Things are happening too fast and too slow at the same time. Too much and too little happening simultaneously. There's a restlessness. There's somewhat of an impatience. You can be patiently impatient. Scripture says, in your patience possess ye your soul. I'm patiently impatient and impatiently patient. Been that way all my life. Very driven man, very called, very summoned, I'm taking sounds for the depth of where I am in life. Now, can you not feel a kind of tightening energy in the air? Are you feeling something almost restrictive or constrictive? Many are complaining or at least noticing a strange sense of atmospheric change. atmospheric charge, atmospheric challenge that triggers the fight, flight, or faint reactionary syndrome. It's fight, flight, or faint. That's reference to many times as big old football strength guys when they go to get the blood work, and there's a little nurse there with a needle. This big old muscular football player is threatened by the needle, and he's not going to fight the nurse, and he's not going to flight and turn around and run out of the room like a scared little girl, but he might faint. I mean, it's just the air goes out of his head, the wind goes, and he collapses to the floor. I did that one time when I was a little kid, when a guy used to call us all effers in church. He was my assistant pastor. I was 5 or 6 years old, and we had started a little church. His name is Tommy, and he lived catty-corner to where we did. He was a foster kid, and he and his brother Robert lived near us. And so we played with him. I played with both those boys every day. And Tommy actually received the baptism of the Holy Ghost before I did. And I was the pastor, and I was a little bit envious of him getting it. And we were just kids I was like 8 years old, and I received the baptism. He was 2. But he got mad. He wanted to change the furniture in the church every day. This was summertime. And I decided that day I wasn't going to let him change the furniture. I don't know. I just wasn't. And I said, no, not today. My sister stood there. We all said, no, Tommy, you're not changing anything. And he just walked toward the door and turned around. And I bet I hadn't even heard the term effers more than maybe once or twice in my whole life. And had never even dreamed of hearing it in the church, but I was so religious, and the church was such sacred space, even though it was a little church we made in an apartment that my dad owned next door to where we lived. When he said that, he ran out the door. We all piled in behind him. And I remember it was the fight, flight, faint. I don't even know what I was going to do if I caught him, but I fainted. I mean, it was like 6 or 7 years old. I wasn't out long, but I fell quiet. And then actually they caught me. They saw me falling. Whoever was with me caught me, and we kept running. Tommy ran on home, but he came back the next day. But it was just a weird experience because my emotions at 5, 6 years old, I got so tense and so anxious and so excited. I had a little bit of a mental breakdown. I just collapsed. A syndrome is a characteristic combination of opinions, emotions, or behavior. When I talk about the fight, flight, or faint syndrome, it's a condition characterized by a set of associated symptoms. And we all experience these symptoms daily. Are you noticing anything like this occurring around or even inside you that makes you somewhat uncomfortable or even more curious? What's happening inside of you? Are you any different than you were a year ago or even 6 months ago? Some of you are dramatically different than you were 3 months ago or just last week. How different is the world? How different is your world? And are you keeping up with the times? Are you holding back, saying, I'm going to keep what I know I'm familiar with? Or are you kind of going with the flow and growing with the flow? As I often say, especially when it becomes a flood, because that's important. Many are experiencing stranger than normal sleeping habits, lucid dreams, near death, and almost out-of-body-like experiences. They've never had that before. People are having unusually unique and mystical experiences that are sometimes regarded as the highest of all higher states of consciousness. Like, where did I go? When did I get back here? How did I get back here? What just happened to me? These are occurring even in people who aren't normally familiar with most aspects of expanded consciousness, but who are inwardly curious, inwardly open to, and even intrigued with the unusual. They are quietly bored with the norm, with the same old. Jordan Peterson, a clinical psychologist, wrote in an article that I read about artificial intelligence. He says artificial intelligence is created and designed to be smarter than most of, if not all, humans. That's a little bit intimidating here. A machine can be smarter than humans who created it. He says artificial intelligence is created and designed to be smarter than most of, if not all, humans, including its inventors. Now, we are created, and we're becoming pretty smart as creative beings because we've created a lot. If there's one particular trait that is most divine in the human species, it is the ability to create mentally or physically or to recreate or co-create or procreate. We are recreating. We're not just created beings, we're creative beings, and we are creating beings. We're literally creating saliva and tears and sweat and fecal matter and urine and oils and bodily fluids that we're creating constantly. Our body's active. When you see the little ash, that's dead skin. You use the whole outer shell of your skin every 29 days. We just become different. We're constantly evolving. So Mr. Peterson inferred that machines and or algorithms may somehow hold our fate and future in their creepy little digital hands, these robots. The rise of the robot is happening now. I saw them as a kid in elementary school ages. Robots, always been fascinated with that kind of stuff. But I never dreamed I'd actually see one. But a computer, you know, I mean, the closest thing I ever got to a robot, but one of these little vacuum cleaners that you put on the floor. I remember we had one in our swimming pool, move around and just constantly be sucking debris out of the pool. Or you could put them on the floor, and when they bump into something, they move. That's a little bit of a robot. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie that Will Smith was in, where they had all these robots. It was very threatening because and it was a little bit of hint. Theater movies somehow always hints about stuff. The monsters and spaceships and cars and planes, the things that we're experiencing now in the 20th century, 2023, 24, things that I saw hints of when I was 4 and 5 years old on television. It's like space times. It's happening right now. Things that we imagine and we fantasized about then. My dad used to talk about how much progress had been made in his lifetime. He died at 88 years old. But he'd seen so much in his life, from no televisions and no radios or anything like that to all of that in computers, airplanes, boats, things that my dad as a little ghetto kid growing up in San Diego, California would never have known about. So anyway, we will learn more about the technology behind these robots in time. Things have and will become so violent that we will need superhuman capabilities to fight crime and criminals. Artificial intelligence at some point is going to be employed to handle crime, because criminals and crime is going to get so out of hand pretty soon. I'm talking days and weeks and months, that it's going to take artificial intelligence, as threatened as some of us are by it. It has its good and bad. It's like medicine. It's like a sharp knife. It could trim a turkey or kill somebody. You could cut your finger. You could cut somebody. Everything has two sides to it. So we'll see how high performance and adaptive computing can and will help improve healthcare. There's a lot of good things that are going to happen. We're always around the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and we always partake from it because we're curious. Eve happened to be the biblical Eve happened to be in the narrative more curious than Adam. Adam was sort of stuck with just obeying God and, attending to the garden, maybe the animals and all, and he was occupied with them. But she wanted more. She had heard from the serpent that if she ate of that tree of science, of good and evil, that she'd become more like God. Well, once she ate and gave some to Adam, they did according the gods said, or the consortium or council or family of gods that were part of creation, did say they have now become like us, scientists, knowing. They became scientists. And we've never lost our scientific ability, because the creative flow in human beings who were scientific. Eve, a female, started that quest of knowledge and for it. We make evil. We make Eve evil all the time. But she's the one with the curiosity that didn't kill the cat. It expanded the whole universe to her and to Adam and now to us. Had she not and he not eaten from that tree, I wouldn't be using this computer probably right now. I don't know that we would have ever advanced to the place where we accepted anything unique about information. So we're going to see now how high performance and adaptive computing can and will help us improve healthcare. We'll learn how high performance and adaptive computing helps doctors make better decisions and make them faster. we don't know yet what the downside of all this so-called forward thrust will be, but we don't need to worry that the human race will be replaced. We're not going to be replaced. Don't even think about that. We're going to be repaired and we're going to be replenished, but we won't be replaced. We'll feel displaced through all of this, but we're not going to. So if anybody running around telling you that they're trying to kill us, that is a conspiracy theory that is very depressing, and it's negative, and it's in error. I think the universe herself would stop that from occurring unless it was ordained of the universe to clear us all out. And if that's true, there's nothing we can do about it. So I don't think man's trying to do that. I don't think we're going to be replaced. I think we're going to be repaired. I think we're going to be replenished. And again, we will feel displaced through it all. Life remains in motion, just like time and like energy and like light. It stays in motion. It will be, we will all be absorbed, not by, but into whatever changes occur, be they natural or supernatural. We're not going to be absorbed by them. We're going to be absorbed into it. So start getting in the flow. Relax. Decompress. Start looking with curiosity and openness and progressiveness and expansion. Be prepared to evolve. This is a time for seriously reevaluating everything, particularly things that you have been somewhat codependent on, as well as taking them for granted. The things you've taken for granted, the things that we've all become codependent, they're going to start being moved away from us or taken out from under us, and we're going to have to find a different foundation. I think, we used to say this years ago in some of our church talk, that everything that can be shaken will be shaken over the next few years, so that only that which cannot be shaken will last, will stay, will stand. I don't know what all that is, but I expect to be made uncomfortable, to be interrupted and disrupted. And it won't be as much of an interruption or disruption if I go with the flow. Be prepared to say things like, wow, now that's a first. I've never seen that before. Or wait a minute. What was that? What is that? Wait a minute, back up. Hey, be prepared to ask strange questions and to receive strange answers. And sometimes you won't even receive answers. You'll just receive responses from the universe or in it or as it. I'm saying all of this because I sense that there are things coming down the pike, on, in, and through artificial intelligence that will be astoundingly intimidating and wild, and to some maybe even rude to modern consciousness and human culture. We can't run away from or ignore these powerful, pivotal changes. I've been telling you about them all along. I'm not warning you to make you afraid. I'm warning you to make you repair and prepare for the shift, because shift is happening. As you've heard me say many times, I'm trying to help you get and keep your shift together while I get and keep mine together. Now, you may resent changes, but if you resist them, you won't win, because they are under the command of Mother Nature, Mother Earth, you might say, herself. The universe is doing this. Science, technology, mysticism, and spirituality are in a cooperative flow that we've not witnessed before. Science, technology, mysticism, which is a form of spirituality, of course, are in a cooperative flow. Even this whole idea of artificial intelligence, of putting genes from the mind into science, somehow they're going to cooperate. You're going to coalesce. You can become one with the universe, one with the tree, one with the water, one with air. Our Native Americans and our ancient African spiritualists saw life and or spirit or energy, God, in everything. They saw the divine in everything. And many still do. And the more mature I become, I do see life and spirit in animals and in trees and in a roach, in a spider, in a belch, or whatever else we have. It's life. Note that there will be an increase in the value of things, cost-wise, that come from the earth, land, real estate, minerals. You're going to hear stuff about gold and silver and diamonds, how expensive. Even vegetables and plant life are going to be more costly at the grocery store because we're going to be more in touch with the universe, not just as an aid to us, but as an aid to it. Millions are changing eating habits and being more responsible about what they put in their bodies, as well as what they choose to think about. Because what we think about, we bring about. There's a sensitivity to the earth. There's a sensitivity to weather and seasons. You should spend some time, go on the internet and just study the melting of the glaciers, North and South Poles, Antarctica. Watch programs about it. Listen to lectures on climate change. The possibility, not because of fear of earthquakes and volcanoes and tectonic plates moving, the shifting of the universe, because all that's going to happen, both natural disasters and supernatural disasters, we're going to see. Things are going to happen. And again, I feel it. I'm comfortable in my home. I'm comfortable around people I love and my friends. But I also see this restlessness, this insecurity out there. The universe is cleaning and clearing and correcting itself. We should do likewise. Clean, clear, correct ourselves. Try to be more quiet and listen more carefully and caringly. Read and pray and meditate and love and listen. Learn and never stop giving or showing compassion toward, or for all of humankind. Be more caring. Mind your own business while still being your brother's or sister's keeper. Let's pull together, not fall apart. We pull together. There's much talk about mental illness these days. We're all feeling crazy, or that we're going crazy, or even that everyone else is. If you ain't going crazy, you think everybody else is. This crazy is described as being mentally deranged, especially as manifested in a wild or aggressive way. We go through periods of it. Sometimes I don't just feel crazy. I know I'm crazy for a few minutes every day. Sometimes a few seconds every hour. And you crazy for listening to me. You crazy for listening to yourself. There takes a little bit of craziness to be sane. Are we not seeing this in news and media daily? Craziness? Are we not seeing this and at the highest levels of government? Political leaders around the world, a craziness out there, an insanity. Insanity, madness, lunacy, craziness are behaviors performed by certain abnormal mental or behavioral patterns that we all possess. Come on, can we talk? I'll be through in a minute. Insanity can manifest as violations of societal norms, or including a person or persons becoming a danger to themselves or a danger to other people. Conceptually, mental insanity also is associated with the biological phenomenon of contagion, contagious things. A mental illness is infectious. It's contagious, as in the case of copycat suicides. They show them on television, and then a bunch of copycats, mass shootings. They're showing them every day. There's a copycat that same day or the next. Every single day, we've had more mass shootings in America than we've had days in the year so far. And there are copycats. There's something contagious about violence and about violating. There's also something contagious about smiling and loving and listening. A lot of suicides, more suicides than homicides. There's a lot of anxiety, even among fairly sober people. More sober, sane people have thought about the possibility of doing something crazy or stupid or insane or suicidal than ever before. Most people are never going to tell you that they are thinking suicide or they wish they were dead. Sometimes people say, I wish you were dead. Sometimes they say that to themselves several times in a day. Or when something happens that's real awkward and clumsy and uncomfortable and threatening or intimidating, you want to die. Oh, I just wanted to die. Oh, I just thought I was going to die. Don't nobody want to die, yet everybody knows that you can't get to heaven unless you die, or at least that's what many faith folks think, including me, that there's something beyond this space and place, and we want to find out what it is. I've always encouraged my family, friends, and fans and followers to be spiritual but to also study common psychology. I love the logic of thought. That's what psychologos, logic, the logic and rationale of thought. It's a scientific study of the human mind and its functions, especially those affecting behavior in a given context. That's what psychology is. Stress, pressure, worry, anxiety, anger, unforgiveness, fear, and even racism are all forms of mental illness. We all experience it. Some of the most loving and tolerant, celebrated people can be also bigoted and prejudiced, prejudging before you meet, and racist. All of us. And it's all treatable. Everything, all the illnesses we experience are treatable, if not ultimately curable, in this life. Sometimes you don't get cured of the dis-ease or the diseases of this life, but you are treating yourself in it. Eating is a form of treatment. Sleeping is a form of treatment. Laughing is a form of treatment. Exercise and rest is a form of treatment. Studying and reading, conversing, this is a form of treatment. I'm treated as I talk to you. I'm treated as I write out my lectures and notes. And when I'm gone, and my children and whatever find my computers and all the things I've written that are not in a book. I know songwriters who died with hundreds of songs that they'd never recorded and only sang once, sometimes thousands. Ralph Carmichael told me years ago, 50 years ago, that songwriters, real true songwriters don't write a dozen songs or even a couple of dozen songs. True writers write hundreds of songs that are never sung or heard except by them. That seems like a waste, but that's just when you have the juice, it's there. Any of us who have seeds and eggs can have babies all the time. The sperm donor is there, the male, and the female has the egg. If you don't know them or love them, you can still have a kid with them. Or what people freeze their eggs or freeze their sperm, and you can have artificial insemination. That's why people go to seminaries to be inseminated with whatever the doctrine or dogma of that particular denomination or belief system is. You go to the seminary to get inseminated. So stress and pressure and worry and all that, these are all forms of mental illness. All treatable, if not ultimately curable. It's important to know. I think we all need a little insanity to survive our own sanity. Did you hear what I said? We all need a little insanity to be able to survive our own sane, pure thinking. Pure thinking. When a sanitized wall or home has no spots or blemishes or whatever, and that kind of, it can be quite boring. So we sometimes decorate it with insanity. We add decor that upsets the overly sanitized space or place. I think we all need a little sanity, again, to survive our own, a little insanity to survive our own sanity. The ability to think and behave in a normal and rational manner means to be aware of and even experience the exact opposite and somehow maintain sound mental health. Let me say it again. The ability to think and behave in a normal and rational manner means to be aware of and even experience the exact opposite and somehow maintain sound mental health by simply being aware that you don't quite have it all the time. I accept the fact that Carlton Pearson is sometimes just crazy. I enjoy the craziness. I laugh at it, laugh through it, laugh in it, laugh beyond it. Get over it, but get through it and move on to my next saneness. Sanity can be a little intimidating, a little boring, so you automatically do something insane or stupid or crazy or questionable. That's just the way life is. The key is know when you're stupid. Know when you're feeling insanity or when you're doing something that is less sober. Be aware that you have the propensity and the capacity to be an outright fool or to do something foolish or careless, even reckless or risky, sometimes perilous and damaging. We've all done it. We've all had it done to us. The secret, again, is knowing the difference and being likewise responsible. Reasonable and rational behavior occurs more conspicuously when chaos is present and as an obvious deterrent. Crazy statement, but I'm saying it again. Reasonable and rational behavior occurs more conspicuously when chaos is present and an obvious deterrent or distraction. In other words, the worse things become, the better you can intentionally become. The worse things become around you, the better you can become at being you. You can see perfection differently. You see corruption. In other words, the worse things become, the better you can intentionally become. You have no idea how amazing you are and until the opposite occurs. The good, bad, and the ugly need each other and help define and balance each other out. Eh? The good, bad, and the ugly are all there. So you don't have to glamorize or amplify or magnify the good, bad, or ugly, but you do have to process and sometimes monetize the good, bad, and ugly. Find something good in the good. The tree of the knowledge or science of good. There's a science to good. There's a science to evil, and the way the universe perceives good and or evil may be very different than we and our human sensualities do. Our appraisals and evaluations are different, I think, in the natural than the spiritual. I'm learning that after 7 decades of being on the planet and doing both. And I'm excited about it. Well, I hope I haven't sounded like I was rambling tonight. I want to make you think, and of course, some of these lectures you need to listen to a second time. I do as well. I need to read through them a second time because I write them quickly. When it comes to me, I just sit down and start writing. And sometimes I go back and read and I say again, where on earth or where, for heaven's sake, did that come from? Because I know it didn't come directly from me, but the truth that lives in me. The divine mind in me, as me, expressing itself in the universe through me. I accept that. I'm proud of it. I wear it proudly and eagerly and gladly. And I want you to do the same thing. All right. I love you. I believe in you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your consciousness. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your caring spirit and for your interest in things that expand and expound. And abound. Our best is yet to come, even though the worst will precede it. I've been telling you all along, there's going to be continual disclosures in high places and spaces. A lot of corrupt things that have been secretly dark and hidden for decades are going to be unveiled in the next few months and years, coming down to 2024. It will not be the same world in 2025 that it's been as we evolve into whatever we're evolving to. All right, I love you. Thank you, Michael and Billy and Gloria and all you people that I can read the Facebook names a little easier. Gabe, thank you for tuning in. Leora, the good, the bad, and the ugly, embracing it. Good. Billy, Michael, Esther, Jonathan, Joe Nathan, do not want to recognize your madness and welcome it in a friendly manner. Yes, you wanted to accept everything. Good. You guys are getting it. You're good listeners. You're good thinkers. Thank you, Linda, Wanda, Just Jay. How you doing? Gloria. Bless you all. Pastor Don, always good to see you. Yes, know thine own self. Many of you are just sending random gifts during the week, not even when I'm on, just at the right time. Sometimes I'll go for days and nothing, and then all of a sudden I'll get 10 or 12 gifts to new dimensions. They're not usually extravagant gifts, but they're good. I thank you, though, any of you who give any amount, anytime. Some of you are still sending birthday greetings. What can I say? Thank you. You were so kind and so gentle. And we didn't have big fanfares and things, but I don't really need those as much. But what you send is a huge help to me and what I do. And Jesse Jackson's coming in town this week. And I love the old man. He's 80, past 80. He suffers with Parkinson's disease, but he's concerned about events that occur here in this red state. He's going to address them. I'm going to host him and chauffeur him for a few days. And I'm going to drive to Arkansas on Saturday to help eulogize the wife of my friend. And it stunned him and stuns all of us that this precious young woman, I think she was 37 years old, just left us. And Tim's heartbroken. I can understand that he would be. It's stunning to him and his family that he should lose his wife, but I'm going to drive down there and love on him and them and minister to the family on Saturday. I think the service is at noon. There's something on Friday as well. But there's a lot of hurting people. Every day the phone call, somebody else has transitioned. And this young lady was only 37, I think. A lot of my peers have gone. But I'm still here and you're still here. The question is not why are they gone. The question remains, why are we still here? You're not dead because you're not done. There's more to do. And I think you're going to pick up on that. So start expecting to hear sounds and signals and sensations that suggest that your purpose is more to be expounded upon. I don't care how confused you may get at times or depressed or lonely. Work through it, walk through it. Everybody experiences it. Some of the most popular, high-profile people that can pull crowds on stages are some of the most sad and lonely people I know. And they need something other than that stage to affirm them as human beings being human. We all need that. Let's share more with each other. Thank you again for those of you who are donating toward New Dimensions. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm going to give you up, as the old preachers used to say. You have anything to say, Malachi, before we go?
Yes. I think we got a couple of good ones that we should go ahead and post up here.
Kathy, the word rapture, she says, do you believe in the rapture of the saints? It's called parousia. It means the catching away. There's been a lot of confusion about that. Here's my idea about the rapture. Whether you live or die, you see Jesus at some point. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. To be raptured means you're here on the earth when a second coming we've been waiting for 2,000 years to occurs. But that's no difference than all the people being caught up in the sky or dying before then and going into the sky, ascending into the heavens. It's kind of like language. I'm not really sure in a precise rapture. I don't care. If I'm here and he comes and I go, I'm cool. If I die and go, I'm cool. I used to be really preoccupied with the second coming and the rapture. I'm not preoccupied with either. I'm really preoccupied with existing and occurring presently and powerfully right now and living my full life. And when I go, whether that's in the rapture or just go to die in my sleep someday, hopefully not tragically by an accident or anything, but die in my sleep. I expect to die quietly in my sleep, possibly well into my 90s. I don't know, but I'm sensing that I'll be around. So anyway, if you believe in that rapture, keep looking forward to it, but there'll be a lot of disappointments in reference to it. I do believe in a catching away to higher consciousness, that you can be elevated in your consciousness. That's like a second coming. I think the second coming is probably just consciousness, its expansion and its extension to the wider realities outside the human psyche. All right, how about another one? Jonathan, music independent. Jonathan Simon, do you not want to recognize your madness and welcome it in a friendly manner? You want it to accept everything, so accept madness too. Yes, let the light of your madness shine, and it will suddenly dawn on you. That's a good point, Jonathan. I welcome crazy, even crazy people like you, Jonathan. I know you crazy. That statement shows there's nothing wrong with you, but that's good about you. You've handled it well. I think our sanity might be our insanity, or our insanity is a form of sanity. That's a great point, Jonathan. I totally agree with you, and I accept my madness. I accept that I get angry sometimes too. I just get ticked off. I don't know how not to. The scripture actually says, be angry, just don't sin, which takes a lot of the fun out of being angry, because when I'm angry, I want to sin. I want to sin, S-I-N, or sin, S-E-N-D, send somebody's tail out of the room. So, but anyway, yes, I know what anger and laughter and hot and cold, high and low, in and out, up and down, dark and light. That's all the diversities of life, and we should cherish and even reverence all of them, even the madness. Great comment, Jonathan. Thank you. Anything else, Malachi? Before we close,
Go for it.
there it is, Brandon. Hey, Carlton Pearson. What is the mark we should be pressing toward? Perfection in God. I press toward the mark for the high calling or the higher consciousness. That's what that really means. Paul says, I press toward the mark for the high calling, which is the higher consciousness in Christ. Awareness, alertness, awakeness, woke folks. The conservatives hate the woke folks. It's woke folks. Open-mindedness. And it is a mark. The word mark in Greek is skopos, where we get the word scope or view or vision or conception or perception. I press toward the mark, the perception of the higher consciousness, the higher calling, the higher summons, the higher sound. It's supernatural, but you can achieve it through nature. And I believe you will.
We're good.
What, one more? No, it's 9:32, but I can take one more.
All right. I think most of them are. You might be able to address this one. We'll see how that works.
Last address, but I'll do it. Michael Morgan. Hi, Michael. Is not 2025 or 2028 the next Jewish Jubilee? I haven't counted them. It is every 50 years, and their 50-year their calendar is different than ours. I think it's more like 28, but it could be 25. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I'll look it up. Floyd, do you believe everyone goes to heaven? Yes, whatever heaven is. I just believe there's an after reality and parallel universes that we all will live in. I don't see any redemptive value or virtue in eternal weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth. I think that's an absurd and obscene concept that we in our fear-based theologies have come up with. I do believe that heaven just means higher reaches, rhythms, and regions of consciousness. I'm not talking about streets of gold and walls of topaz, neither of which have any appeal to me at all. I have a little gold in my mouth, sometimes gold on my ring or my neck or something like that. I don't want streets of gold. But I like sand, I like grass, I like wood. I have wooden floors in there, sometimes marble. But I don't think it'll be as sensual as that. It'll be spiritual, and it'll be at a level that embraces and traces everything beautiful, that is beautiful and bountiful. So whatever that heaven is, I plan to be there and to see you too, all of us.
This is just a comment.
Billy Edwards, I wish I could express how badly I personally needed this word. Oh, Billy, I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you, brother. That makes my night. God bless you. I'm going to send you something on your Cash App because you done blessed me, but I don't know what it is. Thank you, Billy. Thank you. That precious little one near you. I suppose that's your daughter. Look too young to be your wife, but she's cute anyway. But I'm glad you needed that. Take it, my brother. Share it with others. And that's something I want all of you to do to keep the algorithms, whatever those are. Like, sign, subscribe, share. This is an important message. I'm a little wordy, sometimes a little bit more philosophical than somebody would like, but share it with your friends, okay? Especially somebody you know, maybe like Billy, however, whatever he was going through that made him need this tonight. He isn't the only one. You may know somebody, or you may, like him or me, have needed this tonight. I certainly did. All right. Thanks, Billy. God bless you. You're kind to say that. To all the other special people, we love you. God bless you. As I always say, God be you. And we have some great plans for some wonderful times together, whether that's in person, on the road, whether that's cruises, resorts. We're going to wait and see what this crazy world tends to do. But let's be ready when it all happens, okay? I sure love you. Peace and blessing. Good night.
to a source that never runs out. I am connected to a love that never runs out. I am connected to a source that never